Special edition of the Weekly Pulse today. We got two guests on with us, Elaine Bear and Travis Tilton, and we're going to dive into the Brayden Bear Strong Day on September 7th. But first, we're going to meet Elaine and Travis, get to know them a little bit, hear their story, and why we're supporting this and why we're bringing the town together on September 7th. So, Elaine, Travis, I'll let you guys kind of introduce yourselves just briefly, and then we'll get into it.
Sure. I am Elaine Bear, and I am from Highland. I have 4 amazing kids, and I am a dance instructor at Dance Network 618, and I am a sub at the Highland School District.
Awesome. Travis?
Hi, I'm Travis. I own Alpha's Gym, and I'm the principal at the Alpha's Gym Foundation.
There we go.
Awesome.
Okay, Jessica, you want to kind of...
Oh, I'm ready to dive in. Okay.
I know you're ready, so...
Like Jeff had mentioned, a lot of the community might know your story, parts of your story and bits of your story. It's all hearsay. But right now, we're really excited to give you a platform so you can share your story, share your journey over the last few years, and most importantly, share what it is that this community can do to help serve you and your family during your upcoming challenges.
Thank you. Well, we honestly realized how amazing our community is. Not this past spring, but the spring before, when my daughter Elise got sick, viral meningitis, bacterial meningitis, a couple strokes. It was just a situation where our community came together and had the most amazing prayer visual in our town square. The amount of prayers, texts, letters that were sent to the hospital. Unfortunately, you don't realize how amazing your community is and how many friends you have that aren't even family that just come together and support each other. And then, unfortunately, again on February 15th, my kids were leaving the house to go to school, and I received a phone call that they had been in an accident at the end of our subdivision. As a parent, you feel like you can't get down there quick enough, even though it was less than a mile from my house. That was another situation that our community immediately came together. I could feel the prayers already as I'm waiting outside of the ambulances to see my kids. And thankfully, I was able to travel with Elise in the ambulance and was able to see Brayden and give him a quick kiss and say a quick prayer over him as they took him into the helicopter. And I was immediately already receiving messages and calls just from everyone showing their support. And then that's kind of where our journey again went to the PICU at Cardinal Glennon. Thankfully, Elise was able to go home later that afternoon, so she was able to come up to the PICU floor with family as we were still waiting to see Brayden. And she had minor injuries, but it still was not healed from when she was sick and where the strokes hit in the back of her head before. So she did have a lot of sensitivity, bruised ribs, air pockets underneath her ribs, which the bumps and bruises on the outside, those all were able to heal. And then we just awaited for the news to come in for Brayden from the doctors. And unfortunately, my husband was 5.5 hours away on a work trip. So his long drive home, he had friends that would call him just so that he could have them talking to him so that he was not alone on his drive home. So he was unable to be in any of the meetings with the doctors to find out that Brayden was in critical condition. He had 2 collapsed lungs. He had swelling on his brain. They were able to get a tube in him right away. They were able to get the drain in right away to start releasing of the fluid. And then we were finally able to see him, and just to have the doctors tell you that they were unsure of his conditions and if he was stable or not. But all I could do was pray, and I know that God was watching over him, and Brayden's faith is so strong. I know that he was talking to God and he was listening to God right away. Finally, Steve was able to get there, and the doctors could explain to him what was going on. It is the hardest thing to have to hear twice. But again, our community immediately came together. They had open gyms for him, because he loves basketball. And the kids from all over were coming just to play for Brayden that night. I mean, they had another prayer visual. There was kids from all over that don't even know us, but just know Brayden from being an athlete on his AAU teams and traveling. They came that day, and we were told by the community that these young teenagers were bringing shovels and clearing off the town square, getting the snow out of the way so that everyone could be there to pray for Brayden. And so cute, some of the schools were sending us pictures of wearing ribbons for Brayden on their shoes, wearing colors for Brayden, making prayer cards, making posters, and none of that went unnoticed. So I thank all of you. They told us from the beginning that Brayden's eyes were closed and a lot of his things weren't working right, but that he could still hear us and feel us. So I promise you, I read him everything. So he knows everything that you all have done, and I know he felt it. We ended up staying at Cardinal Glennon for 42 days. He was intubated for 33 of the days. We had Dr. Evra, who is through Rankin Jordan, come and evaluate Brayden shortly after he woke up, and he had hardly any movement. He could slightly move his right leg, he could move his right thumb, and he could slowly slide his left arm up and down the torso of his body. And I honestly didn't think Rankin was going to be able to take him. I just kept telling him that, you know, in terms of an athlete, he loves football. So I just kept telling him, you know, you have your helmet on, you got your pads on, your doctors and nurses, they're your linemen, they are protecting you. You just got to stay strong. You've got to keep pushing. You got to take the ball and you got to go and you got to get to the end zone. I just kept telling that over and over again. And I had a feeling that once he got to Rankin, it was almost like Rankin was his end zone, that he was just going to, you know, go to that whole nother level there. And when Dr. Ever came and said that they would take him whenever he was medically strong enough to get there, then we could head there. And I think just Brayden hearing that from Dr. Ever in the room, we were already there a week later, and that doesn't normally happen. I think he just heard Dr. Evra accept that, and just Brayden's that type of person. If he gets the green light on something or he gets a challenge, he's going for it. He's a 150% kid, and I think he was just ready to go to that end zone, ready to go to that next level. And we got to Rankin, and they say that you can anticipate for every one day on an ICU floor would be for equivalent to about a week in rehab. So we should have been looking at 42 weeks in rehab, and he got to come home after 34 days, which Rankin has chosen him to be their Making a Difference child. He's going to be represented at the gala on September 21st. He is their quickest severe TBI recovering patient that they have had. So it just, again, goes to show you how strong Brayden is. And he came home pretty much nonverbal. Once they took his trach out, he had a trach after they took his tube out. He was nonverbal until a couple days before we came home. His lungs are still pretty sick. He had a pretty tough battle with 2 collapsed lungs. He had ARDS, which is acute respiratory distress syndrome. He had pneumonia, and he had 2 staph infections. So his lungs still have a lot of healing to do. But thankful for medicines. They're kind of experimenting with some things right now, and just after taking one of his treatments through pulmonology, it does increase his breathing by 64%. So we are finding out ways that we can get his lungs stronger, and hopefully on the recovery ends of that. He still is going to continue with PT. We continued with outpatient at Rankin. He just finished up there. Due to school schedule, we had to stop our outpatient at Rankin, and we are now going to be starting therapy in town, and our school is amazing. They have speech that can work with him, OT, everything can be provided through school. And never did I think 2 months ago that he would be able to attend his first day today independently with his sister leaving for school. So it was an emotional, amazing morning. Yes, I want to check my phone and make sure he doesn't need anything and he hasn't called, but I'm not going to be that mom. But I would like to send a huge shout out to Rankin Jordan Pediatric, Bridge Hospital. Your staff is amazing. And also Cardinal Glennon at the PICU. We made so many new connections there. Not family, but they are all family now. Being a mother that didn't leave my child's side for almost 80 days, they were my family. So I would like to thank every staff member at Rankin and Cardinal Glennon. And I would like to thank everybody, not only just in our hometown community, but for all the others that have reached out from other towns that just know us through participating with Brayden through sports and through my work and through Steve's work and knowing my family. And, you don't even have to know someone personally to reach out to let somebody know that you're thinking about them. And everything that everyone has done means so much, and I am so grateful for it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. Obviously, we know that's hard to do, but the great news is, like you said, that he got to go to school today, and he's recovering faster than ever expected, and farther ahead of schedule than what you anticipated. So let's maybe shift over into what's coming up, some of the good stuff that's going to happen because of this and how we're going to make that happen. So, Travis, I'll let you kind of take over from here, kind of how this got started, how September 7th came about, kind of give us some of the details on that.
I don't want to follow after that. I could tell this story in 9 different ways because it just spins in so many directions. So it came. First of all, let me say we were not the first. We weren't even close to the first family fundraiser for Elaine. There were lots of others. There was CompuStitch. There was the GoFundMe. Beauty on Broadway was selling hats, I think, right away. So there was lots of initial community help immediately. Like day one, I saw stuff going on, which is how I was even alerted to what was happening. And the gym has a 501c3 foundation. In the last 2 years, we've given out $40,000 in direct aid to families and people and organizations. And it's usually kind of smaller stuff. You know, someone can't pay the rent, they can't pay the light bill, car can't get repaired with no car, no job, so no money to fix the car. We've paid for surgeries that, you know, insurance wouldn't pay for. We've, you know, given money to, child medical expenses for an organization in Chicago, I believe it's called Fire Buddies, Brett's First Responders. So we've done a fair bit. Just and what I learned from the foundation is I still had to pay taxes on all that. So that's why we started the foundation. So there was some way to give help and save as much as possible. So when the community was helping Elaine right away, people obviously just reached out and said, "Is there anything you can do?" And it, without knowing how Brayden was doing, because there was nobody really knew other than the accident what was happening from the outside community perspective. Nobody really knew. That I just sort of took a wait and see approach on the whole thing. It became clear that Brayden was going to survive because it was an open question there for a while. It was not known in any way. And we have an awful lot of school teachers at my gym. Liz Weeder in particular is the principal at the middle school where Brayden was, and she was great with information about what she knew because I knew you were communicating with her a little bit about what was going on. So again, I'm trying to make this short. I really am. Every year we put on 1 or 2 fighting events to raise money for causes. And if there was anything just staring me right in the face, the whole name of the cause was Battle for Brayden. Nothing to do with us. That's what the name already was. Well, here's our next fight event, our next combat sports event. So because of the scale of it, recognizing how much the family would need, just because I don't know, and who knows, how much the cost of what the Bear family is going through is beyond, it's something you just cannot financially recover from without a lot of outside help. And I'm sure the hospital's helping, the community's helping, and I have no doubt that there's other organizations, definitely, but no one family could stand what they're going through. So I got a planning committee together almost right away. Teffy and Carrie from Railshake, Brian Steele from Aggressive Graphics, he reached out to me and he said he wanted to take place. Tyler with the Game Yard, who also works with Brian. That was our planning committee from day one to sort of take a step back and just see what it could be. Trying to make this short. We sat down at our first meeting and we're like, well, how do we get to a meaningful number? This is we wanted to get, we didn't want this to be a $5,000 check or a $10,000 check. We wanted $100,000, $150,000. I mean, really wanted to be impactful for the whole thing. So we bring this planning committee together and we say, how do we get to these kind of numbers? And we laid out a plan. Okay. And from that plan, Jeff, you were the absolute first thing that came up, meeting number one. Who do you need to involve? It was Pulse running a 5K. It was the very first meeting, day one. I don't think you were there for that one. Mm-mm. You were at the second meeting we had. But when we talked about how do we make this work, and it became very clear it had to be the entire community. There's no way just I was going to sell fight tickets to get to the kind of number we had to get to. Mm-hmm. So Carrie, who I think reached out to you,
yep.
She's the one that said, I'll take care of Jeff. And thank God it happened because I visualized September 7th as an all-day, find what you want to do what you want to do, grab a group of people, go make a difference, have fun, do an exciting event of whatever it is. There's lots of different ones, but there's so many runners in Highland. You can't miss them, and that's Pulse. So Carrie carrying the water on that to you. And there's a car wash, there's a wiffle ball tournament, there's a bags tournament, there's a poker run. There's just lots
yoga.
of things. Yeah, yoga. So Sharon reached out to me, and she's like, I got this great idea. Well, tell me all about it. So they're going to do a yoga class that morning at the KFC hall. Let me just wrap it up. Like I said, I could go forever on this kind of thing. I like how the KC Hall was good to us. Just all the different people. I just picked up a check from Lee's Jewelry, who's sponsoring a fight. I can't, every day it's a dozen messages about how do we get involved. So Let me just,
So so to get to that, like, what is the easiest way for somebody to find out? Like, is there a spot where everything's listed of the whole day's events, or do we need to make something like that happen to where we can get it on Facebook and like, here's the hour to hour platform, so everybody can find out exactly what to do, and I'm sure we can get something like that together in a short amount of time.
So this is one of the
Or if you
benefits
have
of having a planning committee, because I never would have thought of what you're talking about there. But the guys over Aggressive, they talked me into getting a website. Battleforbrayden.com is the website that has everything you need. Battleforbrayden.com. You can buy fight tickets, all the event information, the registration to do Pulse's 5K is on the site, how to sign up for the wiffle ball tournament. Everything you need to know is there. Not just the combat sports. Elaine's story is there as well. So if you want to share that with, somebody in your organization that's interested in sponsoring, they want to know what the story is, it's right there in black and white. There's pictures and logos from other people that have been helping out and doing things. So battleforbrayden.com. There's also a Facebook page. Just look for Battle for Brayden. It's not hard to find, where we take pictures of sponsors and things that are going on. So if you kind of want like a daily little drip of the excitement, new ideas, people reaching out, the Facebook page is sort of the daily fun spot to go to.
I love it. Thank you. My big question is, what's everyone doing September 7th? Oh, I know.
Yeah, find something.
Yes.
We have, obviously there's stuff going on all day outside. Kind of my next question, Elaine, is, what is the future? Like, what are things that are going to be needed for Brayden in the future? I mean, I'm assuming obviously he's not done with treatment
he's not.
or therapies. So what's the future look like for him as of right now?
His passion is basketball. His other one is football, and unfortunately we're going to have to, step back from that. But one of the first few things that, when he's back to talking again, he, people would ask him, what do you want to do next? And he wants to play basketball. His goal is to get back on the court. And he tells people now, he says, the old Brayden's in there. It's just hiding. It'll be back. So we are getting him some one-on-one sessions for basketball. We were letting the week go with school starting up, but we'll get him going in some PT again, probably twice a week. And then, it's kind of in the school's hands, which I trust them so much. And that's pretty much what I told them at our meeting. It's whatever they felt that Brayden need is that, we would get extra speech for him. We would get extra occupational therapy. So the school is amazing, and they just wanted to kind of take a few days to kind of evaluate how he's doing getting around the school. He does struggle with short-term memory. So we might be getting, doing some sessions to help improve on that. And I know that's just a lot of neurology. It explained to us that he could the biggest recovery will come within the first year, but there's still recovery that's going to happen within the next 2 to 5 years. So as hard as it is, with a lot of this, we just have to be patient. But his other goal was to get back to school and make straight A's again. So, I feel like the school is going to, help him out in every way that they can to get him, to those straight A's again, and just get into physical therapy and he's loving these one-on-ones. He's just really got to work on his coordination and, so with all the PT, I feel like that's going to help him get his strength back. He did have more of the severe TBI was more so on his right side, which affects his left. So his left side is pretty weak. So I think that's kind of his main focus there is just getting his body healed up and trying to get as many therapies as he can that his body will allow him to at the time.
Okay, awesome. For as fast as he's doing everything else, there's no doubt that if he sticks with it, that he'll probably be right where he wants to be in the future. And, I look forward to seeing what the updates are 6 months from now, a year from now, and seeing how well he's doing and how far he's progressed. So,
yes.
I think the biggest thing for everybody to help him progress is to be a part of September 7th.
Yes.
And would love to see as many people in the community come together for such an awesome event. And, to me, I think I look at it as something that could be potentially something for the future, that this is just becomes his day and we do this for somebody else the next time or whatever. And it's a continuation. But
Yes.
I don't want to get ahead of this, but I've got a meeting, I think this week, with the Highland Speedway to possibly do this fight in the middle of the Speedway next year. So if the need is still there, the cause is still there. So we're working on to make the next event next year even bigger.
So,
Wow. Incredible.
yeah. Well, is there anything else that you guys would like to share? Like I said, I think it all sounds great. And I think a lot of people are going to hear this and learn a lot.
Definitely.
From the outside looking in.
Thank you. I know it was very hard to be vulnerable, but I know a lot of people.
I know I'm not one to really be on social media, so I know that there was a lot of, wondering as far how he was doing and, how we're getting around every day and how, his therapies are going. And so I appreciate you guys for having me on and kind of letting everyone know how amazing.
Whatever it takes to let as many people know as possible.
Definitely.
Absolutely. So
Thank you to the
Well,
both
thank
of you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
guys.
much.